Hi, it's Nick at finance.vote, and I'm going to answer another question. This is quite a big one and really important. And the question goes like this. Could you please elaborate in detail the key management section of your white paper? At the moment, the section is rather abstract. It would be nice to know if you have a detailed plan made up on power transition beyond the promise that we have to believe in currently. It will give you much more credibility to your endeavour. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's quite right that you take a critical eye at promises in white papers, and this is one of ours. I believe we use something like, we will transition the keys to the network towards the crowds through a process called progressive decentralisation. And this user's quite rightly picking this out as something that we need to elaborate far more on. Now, we're going to be releasing our new version of our white paper this week, and we have a whole section on this, which we're calling the path to decentralisation. And largely what's going to happen is we're breaking this process into three phases. So the first phase is that largely we're in control. Now, we're in control mainly because we need to be to make sure things start off properly. So things like our vote markets, so other users have asked us, like, why does it start on 100V? How quickly does the auction decay when buying identities? What markets are going to be involved? Passing that power to the users is actually not at all a trivial problem. It requires a governance system that we are building. In the first instance, we need to have management keys to boot these things off, with the view of transitioning them to the crowd later. So the first phase of this is we're building our systems and retaining management keys that we can sort of manage these queues. There's a lot of the process that's trustless still. We can't change how people vote. We can't stop people from voting, but we can modify the rules of the game. And we could, in theory, do that without consensus from our token holders. That's what we're going to do in phase 2. So in phase 1, we're going to tune the rules of the game based on what we think as network leaders are the right things to do. In 6 months' time, we're going to launch what we call the DMF, our main DAO. And by that time, the users will have seen what parameters in the system can be tuned, and then we're going to slowly pass those decisions over to the crowd. So think of it like dials on a kind of big hi-fi system. We're going to show you what the dials are, and then you're going to start tuning them with your token votes. You'll be able to decide what new markets you want, what the reward should be, what the inflation and deflation monetary policy should be. All of that will be controlled by the token holders. Finally, we want you as token holders to add new dials to this system. So this is where we essentially pass over full responsibility to the crowd. Now, you will have seen some DeFi projects doing an exit to community, I think they call it, in the first week. I don't think that's at all reasonable or likely to happen. There needs to be a transition of power to the community in a sort of gradual way. Otherwise, you're just releasing a token and sort of setting up a forum and running off. So the progressive decentralisation process is really crucial, and one that we're taking very seriously. So yeah, we've thought a lot about this, and there's going to be quite a meteor description of how this plan is going to play out. So I really appreciate that question. It's a really important one.